Coming up on this episode, breakfast at 37,000 feet. Coach doesn't ride coach, and we don't mess with Texas. All right, guys, in April of 2023, we went to Mazatlan, Mexico, and this video series is to chronicle that trip. We're also going to tell you guys at the end of this video how we got our nicknames, Coach and Mrs. Coach, so don't leave the video. Stay tuned for that. We're going to actually do this section as a voiceover because we've got a lot of footage here, and I want to play this footage for you guys. I know a lot of our friends and family really enjoy watching footage of flights, and so we're going to let this run kind of as we talk. This just is us departing from Raleigh Durham Airport very, very early in the morning. In fact, we had about 3 hours of sleep, and we'll tell that story at some point as to why the sleep was so little. But suffice it to say that even under the best of circumstances and with lots of sleep, I am not a morning person. And in fact, I am so not a morning person that my mother, when she realized that Mrs. Coach and I were probably going to get married, actually pulled her to the side and explained to her exactly how much of a morning person that I was not. And so I'm sure that she could tell you a little about that conversation, but after 30-some years together, she could probably tell my mom a few things by this time.
Yes, I can. He doesn't talk before 10 o'clock in the morning. And he doesn't, he's not very good cognitively before 10 o'clock in the morning.
What was that word?
Cognitively.
Cognitively.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Well, anyway, this trip was something that we were looking forward to, and obviously, when you get to the airport and you're herded like cattle through TSA, that makes for even more grump than normal. But I will tell you, Mrs. Coach was proud of me because I did not get arrested at the very first TSA checkpoint. In fact, I was less likely to be arrested on this trip than she was. That's a future video, by the way, that you do not want to miss. We are flying, by the way, on United Airlines. On this particular flight, it is a 737-900, and we are in first class. And the reason for that is Coach doesn't ride coach. We have gotten to a point in our life where being packed in like sardines in economy or basic economy is simply not what we want to do. And it's kind of like back in the day when I was a kid and all the old guys drove around in Cadillacs that were, 15 feet long. They wanted their space. As I get older, I like bigger vehicles, and I think that's kind of why I need my space. So anyway, I think Mrs. Coach, even though she's a small, petite lady, would tell you that she's not going back to coach.
Oh, no. First class all the way. 100%. Roomy seats, comfortable seats, just a great environment on the United Airlines flight. The stewardesses were wonderful, very sweet, very friendly, extremely helpful. Okay, Mr. Coach.
Well, I think they're called flight attendants, is all I was going to say now, because we did have some that were not stewardesses. They were stewards.
I guess that's what you'd call them.
Anyway, we have breakfast here at 37,000 feet. And I do want to just tell you guys a little bit about this. As you can see there, by the way, 36,950. We're rounding up. But anyway, one of the things that I wanted to mention about this is about 5 days before the trip, we were sent an email that allowed us to choose what we wanted to choose. And I chose a meal that was very appealing to me. Mrs. Coach has a lot of allergies. She chose a meal that was appealing to her. We get to the flight and we don't actually have that option. So United Airlines, if you're listening, I have no idea what you were doing there, but we did not get either of the two choices that we were able to choose from. We didn't, which was all we had on the flight. We had two choices on the flight. There was like, 7 or 8 on the app?
Now, Coach, you have to understand, it is pre-pandemic.
Post-pandemic.
Sorry.
Well, the rest of history is going to be post-pandemic. So the fact of the matter is, I was expecting some frittatas and like turkey sausage, and I got what you're looking at on the screen there, guys.
It's not Mama's Kitchen.
No, it's not Mama's Kitchen.
And it was good food, so don't complain.
Anyway, Mrs. Coach's food, by the way, was better than mine.
Yes, it was.
It was
blueberry crepes.
That's right, blueberry crepes.
Cream cheese crepes. I was good with the substitution because normally I'm not much of a breakfast eater, and I ate almost all of it. It was really, really good.
Yeah, I wanted what I wanted when I wanted it.
As you can see, he's spoiled.
I'm just well taken care of. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is coming back onto the coast of Texas as we had to divert over the Gulf of Mexico a little ways around Louisiana, according to the pilot, to miss a bad storm that was there. And it did show up on the radar, by the way, that we were looking at. It looked like it was a pretty rough storm. So in any case, we had to fly around that, and that shortened our layover window quite a bit. We had just barely over an hour for the layover, which kind of had us nervous to begin with, and this delayed us a little bit more. When we got to Houston, we had to change terminals. We did go to the tram that they have that moves you between terminals, and that's actually really efficient. It moved very quickly. And then we got to the gate, and we had sat down for maybe 5 minutes, and they started a call to board our next flight. So we just barely made it. You know, they say don't mess with Texas. And well, quite frankly, I don't know who they are, but they do say it. And, most likely it's probably people from Texas that say that. Although, it could be a group of people who messed with Texas and realized, I don't want to do that anymore. So in any case, they do say don't mess with Texas. Now, Mrs. Coach will tell you that while at work, I like to use the term corporately correct individual. I do all the things I'm supposed to do at work, but in my personal life, if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it solely to prove to you that I don't have to listen to you, essentially.
He thinks he's smarter than everybody else, guys.
Well, not necessarily, just most people. But anyway, I'm just saying that to say that I would have totally messed with Texas, but we didn't have time because we only had like 5 minutes between getting to our gate and starting to board. Yeah. So anyway, I did notice, by the way, and you guys have seen some as we've shown the footage here, there are some pretty large subdivisions in Texas. They say everything's bigger in Texas. Well, I don't know. We saw some very large subdivisions there for sure.
Beautiful state. Texas is a lovely state.
And it looks flat. It's very flat. At least the area that we were in was very flat. This is our first visit to Texas, which lasted all of 5 minutes, essentially. Well, it was really a little longer than that. Anyway, I just thought that I would kind of touch on here a little bit about why we started this channel. And, we hope to retire in a few years and do some slow travel all around the world. And we wanted to chronicle our travels for our friends, for our family, so people can stay in touch with us. And we thought this would be a good way to do it and kind of have some fun doing it as well. And that's really the reason that we started the channel. I would love to see some videos of my mom and dad's adventures from their past trips. And
Probably nothing the same.
yeah, exactly. It's, when you, the rumors are, by the way, that my mom outfished my dad a lot. They were outdoors people, and, rumor has it that she outfished him quite often. I would love to see his face and her little quirky smile. And I'm sure a lot of their friends and family would love to be able to see that too. So maybe one day, somewhere in time, people will want to watch our videos as well. By the way, this is the takeoff again as we got into Houston, and then we're flying out back to Mazatlan. This is on an Embraer. I guess is how you say that. 175. It's a smaller regional jet, and quite frankly, the jet had a great ride. I enjoyed it. It was very smooth. It's a smaller jet in that it only had 2 seats on one side in first class and 1 seat on the other side. So definitely smaller than the 737 that we rode in. Not that the 737 is a huge plane by any stretch of the imagination. And then this is footage as we approached the airport in Mazatlan. I thought this geography here was pretty impressive.
It's the dry season in Mazatlan, so there's not a lot of rain. You don't see a lot of greenery outside of where we were at.
Yeah, any place that they cultivate and water and keep it up will stay green, but as you can see, the countryside's pretty brown. I thought those mountains in the distance were pretty impressive. We flew over a desert that I did not get footage of because I was busy filling out this form like 3 times on the plane. The immigration form that you have to fill out on the plane, which they didn't even bother to stamp once we got there because I think that's a thing of the past now. But the airlines gave it to us and had us fill it out and went through this whole 2-page form only to put the date in the wrong format. I put, like we do it here, with the month first and then the date, the day, and then the year. But they put the day first and then the month and then the year. And so we had to get another form from the stewardess.
Not we. Mrs. Coach had to go up there and get it.
Went up, got another form, brought it back. I knew my mistake, and what did I do?
You do it again.
I filled out the form incorrectly again because it's just habit.
No, it's 3 hours of sleep, too.
Well, that too. So then we got a third form, and I wised up finally and put the date on it first, and still almost wrote it incorrectly. Then when I give it to the guy in customs just lays it to the side, and I knew that they were supposed to give it back to us, and I asked him, and he said, no, essentially we don't use these anymore. So thanks for that great adventure, United Airlines. We didn't need the form. So.
I'll have to tell you a funny thing, though. He's always so on point at work. Kind of got a little giggle. We were sitting on the plane, and he was trying to buckle his seatbelt, and he was getting really frustrated. I looked over him going, what are you trying to do? He's like, buckle my seatbelt. I turned around, looked at him. I said, you're putting the wrong end in it. I said, turn it around and buckle it. He goes, oh, my goodness. And we started dying laughing because that's what 3 hours of sleep for Mr. Coach does for you.
Yeah, 3 hours of sleep or, lack of a sex education class at school. That would also explain how not to get things in the right place, I guess. But anyway, that's pretty much what we've got for you as far as footage, and just bringing it back to us now. When we got to the airport, by the way, guys, if you are flying to Mazatlan at any point, what you will want to do is bypass all the people asking you if you need a taxi, because they're timeshare salespeople. And while there's nothing wrong with that, I guess, maybe, they're not great investments. But in any case, if you really need a taxi, what you're going to want to do is go past all of that, and when you get out into the main part of the terminal there, you'll turn to the right hand side, and there's a booth where you go and you order your taxi. They charge it based on where you're going. They'll give you a little ticket. You'll go out to the front of the airport. They've got them all lined up, and boy, oh boy. I hope that if we ever go on the Amazing Race, that we can just find this guy to be our taxi driver, because I honestly, I didn't get any footage of it because I was both simultaneously terrified and in awe of the guy at the same time. He created his own lanes where there were no lanes.
He sure did.
We were driving at or in excess of the speed limit on the shoulder of the road in a makeshift third lane that he created. There were times when he created a lane in between two vehicles. And talk about riding people's bumpers. Yeah. So anyway, I would have appreciated that a lot more if I was racing for $1 million on Amazing Race, but I was too busy holding on to even think about pulling out the camera and recording any of that. Then after we got there, I was like, oh crap, I should have recorded that.
I wished I'd have got a picture of Mr. Coach's face, because he's always in control. He turned around, looked at me, he goes, "Are we going to make it there?" And I'm like, just hold on and relax. We'll be fine.
Yeah, well, anyway, the guy was pretty good, and I did tip him nicely. And he even helped translate for us a little bit when we first got there, where we were staying. So that's a little bit about our first morning, because by the time we got to where we were staying, it was still before noon local time, and we had been up since 3 o'clock in the morning East Coast time. So at this point, we had already been up for about 12 hours, and the day had not really even started. So we've got a lot more footage to bring you, and in fact, we are going to have a video. I think next what I want to do is all the incredible sunsets that we saw every single day, and I just want to do a video on the sunsets throughout our stay there, because every day it was different, and we'll do a video on that next.
And when they actually say they're the most beautiful sunsets in the world, it is truly the most beautiful sunsets in the world. I mean, it's just gorgeous. 45 minutes after the sun goes down, you're getting multiple colors of light. Beautiful. So stay tuned.
Yep, and by the way, down here there's a subscribe button. Please click the like, and also share this if you know anybody who enjoys travel, might enjoy our channel. And make sure you ring the notification bell, because if you don't ring that, you may not know that we post new content. So we will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you. Hey, it's us again. You thought we were lying to you, but we are actually going to tell you where the names came from. So mine started back, I'm trying to remember the year, but it's been over 2 decades ago. I was gaming online, and you know how you have a gamer tag or username that you use when you're gaming, and I had a gamer name. However, the members of the clan that I was in, the gaming clan, and by the way, for those of you who don't game, gaming clan is like a team, a little family. We had our own little colors and designs and so forth. It's a gaming clan with a lowercase c. It is not the clan with the capital K. Okay, just to clarify that, there's quite a bit of philosophical difference there with the latter one. So just wanted to mention that. But somehow during our practice sessions, I was given a name by the other teammates of Coach. And I would like to think that was due to my brilliant strategery. However, it could also be because I just like to be in control all of the time. I don't know. But in any case, I earned that nickname online. And then many years later, over a decade later, I was coaching our son's City League basketball team. Coached that for several years. And of course, when you actually coach a team, the people in the community, when they run into you out in the stores or whatever, they're calling you coach. So I thought it was kind of cool that I got the same nickname from both real life endeavors and online virtual endeavors as well, from 2 totally different groups of people. And then Mrs. Coach, I was trying to get her into some online gaming. And when we created her gamer tag, we used Mrs. Coach, so that if we were in the same server, public server, when I would game casually, I would use a different name so that they wouldn't associate me with the gaming team that I was a part of. And so I would use Coach when I would go in just into a general public server. And so we were Coach and Mrs. Coach, and that's where it came from. It's a boring story, but hey, it works. And we're going to use it for the branding for this channel, and if we ever have any other YouTube channels. So we thought we would tell you where the nicknames came from, because most people, even that work with us on a daily basis, don't know that story. So anyway, now it's out to the whole world.
Mm-hmm.